what a roller coaster ride it has been for Nintendo Switch 2 hopefuls. From reports that from PH Brazil that the timeline had been bumped forward, we were getting a Nintendo Direct this month instead of next month so that they could clear the way for a Switch 2 reveal and an early 2025 launch. Now, Chris Dring of GameIndustry.biz, he's reporting that developers have told him not to expect Switch 2 to launch before April 2025. So what is going on with Nintendo Switch 2? So what's up, Waluigi? Trent from Trentendo. Today we got to talk about this because, like I said, we've got some conflicting reports. PH Brazil suggesting that we're going to get a Nintendo Direct soon, and Switch 2 is going to get revealed here pretty soon. And now we're getting told from Chris Dring that developers are being told not to expect Switch 2 to launch before April 2025. So before we hop into all this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like this video. If you enjoy this type of content, we're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you enjoy Nintendo Switch 2 talk and Nintendo talk in general, hit that subscribe button so you can follow along the journey. So let's just hop right in though. So I'm over on Video Games Chronicle. I'll throw a link to this down in the description if you want to go and read that for yourselves. But as I said, the headline article right here: developers reportedly told not to expect Switch 2 to launch before April 2025. So let's go down to the body of the article right here. It says this, according to GameIndustry.biz, Chris Dring, who discussed launch plans for Nintendo's successor on the publication's latest podcast. Nintendo confirmed in May that it will announce its next console during the current fiscal year, which runs until March 31st, 2025. No developer I've spoken to expects it to be launching this financial year. Dring said, in fact, that they've been told not to expect it in the current financial year. A bunch of people I spoke to hope it's out in April or May time, still early next year, not late. I don't think any of us want a late launch for Switch 2 because we all want a new Nintendo console. Everyone gets very excited for it, and we don't want to crunch that. We don't want that crunch of Grand Theft Auto 6 and Switch and all the kind of stuff on top of each other. Having launched in March 2017, Switch is in its 8th year on the market. In July, it surpassed Famicom as the Nintendo console with the longest lifespan before being replaced. So then they kind of just go into some of this other stuff about the sales. So essentially, though, he's saying developers are being told not till 2025, April at the earliest. So what does that mean? Does this really conflict with what PH Brazil was saying? I don't know. I think that there still may be some credence to what PH Brazil had said, and maybe he's just slightly off on his release timing, because we had all heard that the Nintendo Switch 2 was delayed from 2024 to 2025. PH Brazil broke that. They were the first one to say anything, and then a lot of these insiders, a lot of these other publications came out and corroborated it. So let's break down what he said. So his PH Brazil's was saying that the timing had been bumped forward for Nintendo, that a Nintendo Direct that was scheduled for September would be bumped to August, and a Indie World would be bumped from August to September. And that kind of clears September or October as a time for Nintendo to be able to announce Nintendo Switch 2, reveal it, maybe begin the marketing cycle for it, because even if it's an early April, May 2025, that would still kind of line up. It's only a month past what we would expect in March. So is that the end of the world? Not really. I don't think that's that big a deal. The problem becomes is if launch is after April or May. If this gets bumped, would Nintendo do a summer release for this? I don't know if they would do it. Maybe they hold it till September, October next year. I don't think they want to wait that long either. I think Nintendo's in a really weird spot right now with a lot of this, because people want the next system, they want the next hardware, and the longer they take, the worse it can get for Nintendo. Essentially, I feel like they don't want to take too long in this. I mean, they can take their time, but I think at the same time, people are anxious, and what are you going to put out for your software if you don't have the next system? You're alienating these third parties who want to put games on the new stuff. There's new content, there's new hardware. Like, the way that they can really push some of their new softwares, they're going to want to do it on the next system. So we might see some of these third parties hold out from Nintendo Switch because they'd rather put it on the Switch 2, which is understandable. So with that being said, maybe I still feel like there is some credence to PH Brazil's reports. I know this is, all speculation on my part. I don't have any inside information, but based off of what Chris Dring is saying, I still think that it is possible for Nintendo to have cleared the way a little bit. Maybe we don't see a direct this month per se, but even if they don't see that, I think we could still see an April or May launch for Switch 2. I think that's plenty of time for a marketing cycle if they reveal this thing, in October or November. Maybe you reveal it. You got to reveal it. Maybe you wait till January. Maybe you just shorten their marketing cycle. Maybe we don't hear about it this year. Maybe we don't hear about it till early next year. But at that same point, I still think that if we can at least get to April or May of a release date for the Switch 2, I think that we might be okay. But at this point, though, we have to wait and see, I guess, what happens. If we do end up seeing a Nintendo Direct this month, that leads more credence to what PH Brazil has been saying. So at any rate, we don't have to wait too long to see what Nintendo's going to do. If we get that announcement for this month's Direct, if it's an actual Direct and we're not an indie showcase, we know PH Brazil is onto something, that something's been bumped up. There's been some sort of shift in Nintendo's timetable to want them to have a Direct this month rather than next month, and flip that with the Indie World Showcase. So I think once we hear, we're not that far out from really knowing what is going on, I feel like. And if Nintendo doesn't, tag this next Direct with, there will be no information about Nintendo Switch 2. Do we see Nintendo Switch 2 at an August Direct even? I personally don't think we do, but I think, I wouldn't put anything past Nintendo at this point, because Nintendo has done some really weird stuff, and the way that Nintendo Switch 2 has been handled is very, very interesting, because people want it. I know, we've had the Switch for so long, and I get Nintendo wants to ride it out. I get that there's no really heavy need for them to rush this. They want to make sure it's done correctly, and I get that. But at the same time, you can't, the Switch is dying, and people are hungry for the next thing, and the developers are hungry for the next thing. Not only are fans wanting something new, the developers want to put their games on Nintendo's hardware, and if we have a more powerful system like the Nintendo Switch 2 that can do that, I think we're sitting in a good spot. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below on all this, though. What do you guys think? Because, like I said, these are somewhat conflicting reports. Even if it's only off by a month or two, it could be off by more if, what Chris Dring is saying is more accurate than what PH Brazil's reported. But like I said, we don't have to wait that much longer to see more about at least what PH Brazil has said, because if we do end up getting a Direct this month, maybe there has been some sort of shift, and even if April is when it gets the launch, that's not that big of a delay. It's an extra month, so I'm not too worried at this point. I'm hopeful. I'm a little more nervous than I was yesterday, but I still have some big hopes for Nintendo Switch 2 being not that far around the corner. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below on all of this, what you guys think. Are you sick of Nintendo Switch 2 yet, or do you just want to have that in your hands? So I'd love to hear those conversations going down below. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button, like the video on the way out. It really does help. Let's get to 5,000 subscribers. I'd love to hit that by the end of the year. And until next time, catch you later.